All right, let's jump right into this explainer. I want to start by asking you a question that seems incredibly simple, but is actually the foundation of your entire financial life. Before you can truly take control of your money, you have to be able to answer this. So think about it for a second. How much money do you actually make?
If you're like most of us, you're probably thinking of the big, flashy number on your offer letter. You might say, I make $60K, or I pull in $85,000. Or maybe you proudly declare, I make six figures. It's totally normal to let our ego dictate that answer. I mean, it sounds great at dinner parties, right?
But here is the harsh reality. That number is basically useless. You never actually get to spend your gross salary. You only spend what is left over after taxes, health insurance premiums, retirement deductions, and whatever other mystery fees vanish before the check even clears. So building a real-world budget around that gross number, it's just not going to work. Today, we're going to completely shatter that salary illusion. We are rebuilding your budgeting foundation on actual reality. We're talking about the hard cash that actually hits your checking account and exactly how to structure your financial life around that true number. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer to shift your mindset from failed budgets to intentional wealth building. We're hitting the gross income illusion, managing irregular income streams, the lifestyle inflation trap, budgeting on absolute certainty, and finally, the wealthy mindset shift. Section 1, the gross income illusion, salary versus reality. Let's break down exactly why starting your budget with your gross income is a surefire way to fail. Picture two coworkers sitting right next to each other, and they both earn exactly $80,000 a year. Now, the person on the left is maxing out a 401k, paying hefty premiums for a family health plan, and living in California paying high state income tax. The person on the right, they're barely contributing to retirement, have way cheaper insurance, and live in a state with zero income tax. It's the exact same salary, but they have wildly different net incomes actually landing in their bank accounts. If both of them try to budget based on that 80 grand figure, the one on the left is practically guaranteed to go broke because their budget is built on a fantasy, not on the cash they can actually spend. So the crucial point here is that your budget absolutely must be built on the net cash you receive. And honestly, we need to look at where that cash is even coming from. We usually think of income as just one steady paycheck, but financially successful households usually have multiple streams flowing in. Sure, you've got your primary job, but you might also have overtime, bonuses, or commissions. Then there's freelance work, rental income, dividends, interest, or business profits. Even cashback rewards count since they actively reduce your future expenses. Every single one of these streams behaves completely differently. Section 2. Managing irregular income streams. Handling chaos. And that brings us to a really common hurdle. How on earth do you manage the chaos when your income isn't predictable? A salaried employee basically knows what they're getting, but if you're a real estate agent, an Uber driver, or working on commission, you definitely do not. Take Emily, a freelance designer. She brings in anywhere between $3,500 and $7,000 a month. If she budgets based on her absolute best month, that's $7,000, she's going to be panicking and overspending when an average month rolls around. The trick is to build your budget using your lowest reliable income. So for Emily, that's her $3,500 baseline. Then, when those huge payments eventually roll in, that extra cash isn't just a green light for a shopping spree. You use it to buffer future months, hit savings goals, and fund investments. It literally prevents financial panic. Section 3. The lifestyle inflation trap. More income, still broke. Now, even if you have a super stable income, getting a raise can spring a massive psychological trap that just quietly eats up all your new money. Listen, getting a raise feels incredible for about 3 weeks. But then life just quietly gets more expensive. You snag a slightly nicer apartment, you lease a newer car, suddenly you're exclusively ordering artisan coffee on DoorDash, and cheap toilet paper is just totally out of the question. None of it feels like a big deal in the moment, but add it all up and you've got what economists call lifestyle inflation. Basically, your income goes up and your spending goes right up with it. This is exactly why someone making 150 grand can feel just as broke and stressed out as they did when they were making 70,000. Because here is the kicker. Earning more money doesn't automatically make you wealthy. The only thing that actually builds wealth is your cash surplus. This is simply the gap between what you earn and what you spend. It's the money left over after every single bill is paid. That specific pile of surplus cash is exactly what eventually transforms into your investments, your emergency fund, and ultimately your financial freedom. It's really simple math. If you don't have a surplus, you do not have wealth. Section 4. Budgeting on absolute certainty. Reality over hope. Which leads us to a massive mistake that completely wrecks budgets before they even start. And that is budgeting based on hope. We see people doing this all the time, counting their money before it's actually in their hands. They'll say, oh, my bonus is coming, or my tax refund should be here soon, or I'll definitely land more clients next month. But listen, until that money is literally sitting in your checking account, it's just potential. A solid budget has to be built on absolute certainty, never on hope. Never spend tomorrow's income today. Credit cards make this kind of behavior feel completely normal, but borrowing against your future income just traps you in a brutal cycle where your paycheck is already spent before you even get it.
Section 5. The Wealthy Mindset Shift. Keeping versus spending. Now we're ready to dig into a huge psychological shift. When most people look at their paycheck, the first thing they ask is, how much can I spend? But wealthy households look at that exact same paycheck and ask a totally different question. How much can I keep? Just by shifting your internal dialogue from spending power to retention power, you take back control. Because if you aren't intentionally deciding where your money goes, I promise you, someone else will. Advertising companies spend billions of dollars every single year just to convince you that your paycheck belongs to them. Your budget is simply your way of looking them in the eye and saying, nope, I am the one who decides where this goes. To actually put this wealthy mindset into practice, I want you to ask yourself 4 crucial questions the literal second your paycheck hits your account. Do this before you buy anything optional. Number 1, how much net cash actually entered my account today? Number 2, which specific bills are due and absolutely have to be paid before my next payday? Number 3, before I buy anything fun, how much of this should immediately move into my savings or investments? And finally, number 4, what is truly left over for everyday spending? Honestly, answering these 4 questions takes less than 5 minutes, but making it a habit on payday changes the entire game. Because budgeting doesn't start when you swipe your debit card, it starts the second you get paid. Answering those 4 questions is going to completely transform your financial trajectory. So now that your income is sorted out and you've finally established a reality-based net income foundation, it leaves us with one massive lingering question for our next explainer. You now know exactly where your money comes from, but do you actually know where it disappears to? Most of us drastically underestimate how much our lifestyle truly costs, and we are going to break all of that down next time. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.